The envelope arrived on a quiet Tuesday morning, the kind of ordinary day that never warns you it's about to split your life into before and after. Sara almost didn't open it. It lay on the kitchen table, half hidden beneath a pile of unpaid bills and grocery receipts, its white edges too clean, too official. Her name was printed neatly across the front, followed by the logo of a medical lab she didn't recognize. For a long moment, she just stared at it, a strange unease settling in her chest. She told herself it was nothing. A mistake. Maybe junk mail. But something inside her whispered otherwise. With trembling fingers, she tore it open. And in less than a minute, everything she thought she knew about her life was gone. Sara had always believed her life was simple. Not perfect, never perfect, but steady. She lived in a modest apartment with her mother, Farah, a woman who had raised her alone after her father's early death, a story Sara had heard so often it felt like a memory she personally owned. They didn't have much, but they had each other. And for years, that had been enough. Farah was loving, if a little overprotective. She asked too many questions, worried too much, and rarely let Sara out of her sight when she was younger. Even now, at 26, Sara sometimes felt like her mother still saw her as a fragile child. But Sara never complained. Because love, even when it suffocates, still feels like love. Or at least, that's what she believed. 2 weeks before the envelope arrived, Sara had visited a hospital to donate blood for a colleague's emergency surgery. It was a simple act, something she didn't think twice about. Until the nurse frowned. "I'm sorry," she said gently, looking at the report again. "Your blood type, it doesn't match what's on record." Sara laughed it off. "That's not possible. I've known my blood type since I was a kid." The nurse hesitated. "Sometimes records are wrong. It's rare, but it happens." They ran the test again. Same result. Sara left the hospital with a strange feeling she couldn't shake. It wasn't fear exactly, more like a quiet confusion, like a puzzle piece that didn't quite fit. She mentioned it to her mother that evening. Farah froze. Just for a second. But Sara noticed. "It must be a mistake," Farah said quickly, turning back to the stove. "Hospitals mix things up all the time." Sara nodded, but something in her mother's voice didn't sit right. It was the first crack. Days passed, but Sara couldn't let it go. She began asking questions, small ones at first. "What was Dad's blood type?" she asked casually one evening. Farah didn't look up. "I don't remember." "You've never mentioned his family. Did he have siblings?" "No. Not that I know of." Every answer felt incomplete. Deflective. And the more Sara asked, the more her mother seemed to retreat behind invisible walls. Until finally, Sara did something she never thought she would do. She ordered a DNA test. It felt ridiculous at first. She told herself it was just curiosity, just a way to silence the growing doubt in her mind. She followed the instructions, sent the sample, and forgot about it, or at least, tried to. But deep down, she was waiting. And when the envelope arrived 2 weeks later, she knew. She just didn't know what. The words blurred at first. Parentage Analysis Report. Her eyes skimmed the page, searching for something familiar, something reassuring. Instead, she found a sentence that made her heart stop. Probability of maternity, 0%. Sara blinked. Read it again. And again. Her breath caught in her throat as the world around her seemed to tilt. "No," she whispered. It didn't make sense. It couldn't. Farah was her mother. She had to be. She had raised her, cared for her, loved her. That wasn't something a piece of paper could erase. Right? But the report didn't change. The truth didn't change. Farah was not her biological mother. The confrontation came that night. Sara didn't plan it. She didn't rehearse her words or prepare herself for what might come. She simply walked into the living room, the report clutched tightly in her hand, and placed it on the table. Sara looked at it. And went pale. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then Sara broke. "Tell me the truth," she said, her voice shaking. "Please." Farah's eyes filled with tears almost instantly, as if they had been waiting for this moment for years. "I was going to tell you," she whispered. "When?" Sara's voice rose. "When I was 40? 50? Never?" Farah flinched. "I was afraid," she admitted. "Afraid of losing you. You've already lost me." Sara cried, tears streaming down her face. "I don't even know who I am anymore." The room felt too small, too heavy with everything unsaid. Farah sank into the couch, her hands trembling. "You were 6 months old," she began softly. "I found you at an orphanage." Sara's breath hitched. "Your mother, she left you there. No name. No history. Just, gone." The words cut deeper than Sara expected. "Why didn't you tell me?" she whispered. "Because I saw the way you looked at me," Farah said, her voice breaking. "Like I was your whole world. And I couldn't bear the thought of that changing." Sara shook her head, torn between anger and something else, something softer, more painful. "You lied to me my whole life. I loved you your whole life." The words hung in the air. Both true. Both unbearable. The days that followed were the hardest Sara had ever faced. She felt like a stranger in her own life, questioning every memory, every moment. Who was she, really? Where did she come from? Why had she been abandoned? And yet, no matter how far her thoughts wandered, they always led back to one person. Farah. The woman who had stayed. The woman who had chosen her. One evening, Sara found herself standing outside her mother's door, her hand hovering over the knob. She hesitated. Then knocked. Farah opened the door slowly, her eyes tired, hopeful, afraid. "I don't know how to fix this," Sara said quietly. Farah shook her head. "Maybe we don't fix it. Maybe, we start over." Sara felt tears well in her eyes. "Were you ever going to tell me?" she asked. Farah swallowed hard. "Yes. I just didn't know how." There was a long silence. Then Sara stepped forward. And hugged her. It wasn't perfect. It didn't erase the pain or the betrayal. But it was real. And sometimes, real is enough to begin again. Months later, Sara began searching for her biological roots. It wasn't easy. There were dead ends, unanswered questions, and moments when she almost gave up. But she didn't. Because this time, she wasn't searching out of anger. She was searching for understanding. And no matter what she found, or didn't find, one truth remained unshaken. Family isn't just about blood. It's about who stays when the truth comes out. It's about who loves you, even when everything else falls apart. On the anniversary of the day she received the envelope, Sara sat beside Farah on the balcony, watching the sunset paint the sky in soft shades of gold and pink. "Do you regret it?" Sara asked suddenly. "Adopting me?" Farah looked at her, surprised. "Never," she said without hesitation. "You were the best thing that ever happened to me." Sara smiled, her eyes glistening. "Then I guess," she said softly, "the truth didn't change everything." Farah tilted her head. "No?" Sara shook her head, reaching for her hand. "It just showed me what really matters." And for the first time since that ordinary Tuesday morning, Sara felt something she thought she had lost forever.